We hear a lot about aging gracefully, don't we? It's always the same advice. Eat your greens, go for a run, buy that expensive face cream. But what if we've been looking in all the wrong places? What if the real secret to a long, happy life has nothing to do with fighting your reflection in the mirror, but has everything to do with your emotions and the people you share your life with? An incredible 85-year-long study from Harvard came to one powerful conclusion about what makes a good life. And it's probably not what you think. Today, we're uncovering what no one tells you about aging gracefully. Let's get right to the biggest secret, the one that science has confirmed over and over, yet we seem to forget. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies on adult life, gathered 85 years of data on human health and happiness and discovered something astonishing. It wasn't a person's cholesterol levels at 50 that predicted who would be a healthy, happy 80-year-old. It wasn't wealth or fame. It wasn't social class or even their genes. The single greatest predictor of a long and happy life was the quality of a person's relationships. Think about that. Good, warm, and supportive relationships are the most powerful form of self-care you can practice. Dr. Robert Waldinger, the study's current director, says these connections protect our bodies and our brains. The people most satisfied in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest and happiest at age 80. And here's the part that gets overlooked. These relationships don't have to be perfect. The study found that even couples who bickered constantly but knew deep down they could count on each other when the going got tough actually maintained sharper memories and better health. It's not about the absence of conflict. It's about having a reliable connection that helps our bodies calm down from the daily fight or flight stress responses. Loneliness, on the other hand, is toxic. Waldinger puts it bluntly, loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. We pour so much energy into our physical health, what we eat, how we move, but we often neglect the maintenance of our most vital support system. Tending to your relationships isn't a luxury. It's essential work for a long, fulfilling life. Now, let's talk about something we all seem to fear: our brains getting older. We have this deep-seated cultural anxiety about cognitive decline, of losing our edge. But we're so focused on what we might lose that we ignore the profound mental and emotional upgrades that come with age. Research consistently shows that older adults have a higher level of emotional well-being than younger people. They tend to report fewer negative emotions, more contentment, and a generally more positive outlook. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a well-documented phenomenon known as the positivity effect. As we get older, our brains naturally start to pay more attention to positive information. We spend less time dwelling on a criticism or a setback and more time soaking in the good stuff. Why does this happen? Because older adults are masters of emotional regulation. After decades of navigating life's highs and lows, you just get better at it. You learn what's actually worth your energy and what's just noise. You get better at picking your battles and sidestepping needless drama. This wisdom and emotional stability are like superpowers. You develop a deeper understanding of life's complexities, which often translates into greater empathy and patience. So instead of seeing aging as a process of loss, try reframing it as a process of refinement. You aren't losing your mind, you're fine-tuning it. You become less reactive and more reflective, a source of calm for everyone around you. The stereotype of the grumpy old curmudgeon is mostly a myth. In reality, you're far more likely to become more agreeable, content, and connected to others. If this way of looking at aging feels refreshing, and you're into content that challenges how we think about a fulfilling life, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community that believes our best chapters are still ahead, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Another thing we get wrong is the whole idea of retirement. For generations, we've treated it like the finish line of a career. But that's an outdated and frankly dangerous mindset. Seeing retirement as just an empty space is a recipe for loneliness and a loss of identity. The real key to aging gracefully is to pivot from a purpose defined by your career to one that is defined by you. This is your chance to unlock all the passions you never had time for. The happiest retirees don't just stop, they redirect their energy. This could mean mentoring, volunteering for a cause that sets your soul on fire, learning a new language, or finally writing that book. It's about finding a new reason to get out of bed in the morning, one that's driven by passion instead of a paycheck. And engaging in these new pursuits does more than just fill your calendar. It builds new social circles, which, as we learned from the Harvard study, is critical for your health. Joining a club, taking a class, or participating in a community group are all powerful ways to fight isolation and feel like you belong. These new connections, especially ones where you get to share your wisdom with younger people, are incredibly rewarding for everyone involved. Think of it as your legacy-building chapter. Your career was part of your story, but your legacy is the sum of your entire life's impact. The joy of getting older is finally having the freedom to invest in what truly gives you meaning. It's a pivot, not a cliff. Here's one of the most liberating truths about getting older. You finally earn the right to be a ruthless editor of your own life. When you're younger, you're in accumulation mode. You collect friends, obligations, possessions, and career goals. You say yes to just about everything because you're worried about missing out. But as you age, you gain the clarity to start subtracting. You realize that your time and energy are your most precious resources, and you stop giving them to things that don't truly matter. This is the great edit of later life. You start wanting less, not more. Possessions lose their shine, and the importance of deep, meaningful relationships comes roaring into focus. You learn to let go of draining friendships and obligations you only kept out of guilt. You stop caring so much about what other people think. This isn't you becoming selfish, it's you becoming self-aware. With age comes this beautiful sense of self-acceptance. You get more comfortable in your own skin and less worried about what society expects. This confidence allows you to make choices based on your own internal compass, not outside pressure. You stop needing to be right all the time and start prioritizing your peace. This editing process is incredibly empowering. It's about consciously creating a life that matches your deepest values. You're no longer building a life to impress others, you're cultivating one that brings you genuine joy. This is the quiet, confident power of aging gracefully, the wisdom to know what to keep and what to let go. This final secret might be the most counterintuitive one. In a culture that worships strength and independence, a hidden key to aging gracefully is actually embracing vulnerability. We're taught to hide our struggles, to put on a brave face, and to fear becoming a burden. But this just isolates us right when we need connection the most. Truly graceful aging isn't about pretending you've got it all together. It's having the courage to admit when you don't. It's about being honest about your fears, your losses, and your needs. Loss is a natural part of later life, the loss of loved ones, of physical abilities, of old routines. Grieving these things openly, instead of bottling them up, is a sign of incredible emotional health. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give other people permission to do the same. You open the door for deeper, more authentic relationships. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of trust that strengthens the bonds you have. It is in these moments of shared vulnerability that we build the exact connections the Harvard study proved are so vital for our well-being. Embracing vulnerability also means accepting the physical changes of aging without shame. Your body is a map of a life well lived. Wrinkles are where smiles have been. A slower pace is a reminder to be more present. Fighting these changes is a battle you can't win, and it only leads to frustration. Accepting them, however, brings a sense of peace and gratitude for the long life you've been lucky enough to live. It is about shifting your focus from what your body has lost to what it still allows you to do, to experience, and to feel. So, what no one tells you about aging gracefully has very little to do with fighting the clock. It's not about looking 50 when you're 70. It's about living more deeply. The real secrets are right there in front of us. Tend to your relationships like they're the most important medicine you have, because they are. Embrace the wisdom and calm your brain has worked for decades to build. Pivot to a life of purpose that makes you excited to wake up in the morning. Edit your life without apology until it's filled only with what truly matters. And finally, find your strength in vulnerability and connection. Aging isn't a decline, it's a privilege. It is the final and most profound chapter of personal growth. Thanks for watching. If this video resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message. And now, I have a question for you. Which of these secrets will you start focusing on today? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. Until next time, take care.